Hey there, welcome to Kofi Solo episode for May 27th, 2025. You'll have to forgive me at 7:18 in the evening on Tuesday, May 27th. Hey, it's right there in the title. 12 hours ago, the title of this episode, Snap, Crackle, Pop. I'm sorry, it's in the name of the, anyway. I'm a little out of it. That's the inspiration for the title. It was about 12 hours ago. It was slightly over 12 hours ago, around 7 o'clock this morning. Had a little mishap, which I will describe. A few other things. So it's 7:18 p.m. recording an episode just so that I have reason to stay upright. A little mishap this morning really upset my schedule, but also quite painful. Spoiler alert, not as bad as I thought it would be. More movie reaction people. I'm really into movie reactions lately, and we're having a heat wave in the desert in the summer. The links are as usual pointing to my other coffee site, buymeacoffee.com/DanHugo. Do check out the Buy Me an Update episode published every Monday. Also, if you go to buymeacoffee.com/DanHugo, you can find links to all of my other audio programs. How cool is that? So this morning I fell down. End of story. No, I was quite literally ready to go on a morning wander. I like to either in the evenings or in the mornings when it's not so hot. So I was heading out to walk. I usually, if I have the time, like in the morning, perfect time for it, 7 in the morning. I'm not too hot at all, not too much sun in the face. It's a good time to do the 3-mile loop. It takes me about 45 minutes. About 25% of it is uphill, a little shallow grade. So it's a nice way to start the day. Or so I thought. Oh, they emptied the recycle dumpster yesterday, which means it's now only back to half full or half empty if you prefer. So I got a box of broken down boxes. I've mentioned Amazon Vine and how I now have more boxes than I've ever imagined. So I actually broke down a bunch of them. I have a nice box of smaller boxes. Hey, I'll bring that down and drop it off on my way out to wander the neighborhood. So I stepped down. I don't know what's up with this. I stepped down 3 steps. That should have been fine. There were 4 steps, as usual, as everybody knows. So that's quite a wake-up call. Especially, I was holding the box, so I couldn't see my feet. And that was error number 2, miscounting the steps, and error number 1. So I fell. I heard a popping noise, hence the snap, crackle, pop. I was like, oh no. And immediately, completely useless leg from right knee down, right shin, ankle, foot. I tried to stand up. I was like, and I sat on the steps, Amazon products. And then sat there for a minute or two, okay. So I started sort of palpating my leg. Isn't that the word? Palpating? So I'm checking to see, is there a bone sticking out anywhere? Can I feel a bone moving? Yeah, palpate. Examining a body by touch. So that's what I was doing. So I'm pushing on the side of my leg. I'm like, did I somehow break my fibula? Because I could tell the tibia, which is the larger bone in your shin, that seemed fine. I didn't feel any. So everything was going on the right side of my right leg. That's pointing to the fibula. So I'm like, oh no, I'm pushing on the fibula and I feel something moving. I don't know if I'm feeling a bone moving or if I'm feeling some reaction to this, what's the word I'm thinking of? Assault on my leg by the floor. So I don't even know what's going on. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to stand up and see, because I have my phone, luckily. So just in case I was able, I could have called for help, I suppose. So I stood up. I'm like, okay, this is not good, but I am able to put weight on it. That's not a bad thing, hopefully. And being the nerd, I guess, that I am, or practical, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to make it to the dumpster and throw this box away. And then I'm going to walk back to my home and see how that goes. So I'm limping like I just almost broke my leg. I'm limping down it's a parking structure where the recycle dumpster is. So I'm walking down while a car is coming up. I probably look like I'm having a problem. So I'm walking, I'm limping, I'm taking a break, I'm walking a little bit farther, taking a break. I'm like, yeah, this is not good. So I'm taking short steps, right? I'm basically limping. So most of the weight on the left leg, take a light step on the right, back to the left, make it to the dumpster, toss my boxes in there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk back home and see what happens. So I commence walking. I actually, rather than going back up the ramp, I went in through to the elevator. So I take the elevator up. So I get in the elevator and I start walking. It took me forever. Pardon me. Oof, just had some water. Gulping it down, and still I feel thirsty like crazy. All day has just been thrown off. So I walk back to I'm walking like 5% of my normal pace. It takes forever. I get home. I'm like, okay, let me put some ice on this. Now, as luck would have it, I have a cane. I found this cane leaning against a completely different dumpster in a completely different part of my neighborhood when my knee was killing me. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should have this just in case. And I've really never had an opportunity to use it until today. Metal cane. So luckily, easily just picked it like, oh, there it is, just where I left it. Ready to go. So I'm home. I grab an ice pack. I lay down on my bed, put the ice on the ankle area to start, and I'm pushing on the fibula part of my shin. I'm like, man, this doesn't feel right. It feels like something's moving. And then of course, I called my mom because I know she's awake in the morning. I'm like, hey, you won't believe what just happened. So, because I know she had, what was it? She fell off some marble stairs or something, I think it was. So slippery, probably dangerously slippery. And she ended up breaking her shoulder. So I was like, when that happens, it should be very sensitive to the touch. Like your skin should be sensitive. There should be swelling fairly quickly. It should definitely be painful to press on it. She's like, yeah, that sounds right. So I have none of those things. It definitely hurts. But I'm like, I'm pushing on my fibula and it feels very strange, but I'm able to push on it and I'm not passing out from pain or anything. So this must not be as bad as I thought initially. And my ankle was killing me, but I'm like, okay, so I can move my like, not, you can't twist your ankle around, but you kind of pull your toe up and you can turn your ankle left and right. And then you can push your toe, like point your toe. So you can switch that motion and then move your foot left and right. So you basically can make a little circle with your toe, I guess. Right. So you're rolling your ankle around, not rolling your ankle, like injuring it, but just a rolling motion. So I'm doing that. I'm like, that doesn't hurt. I mean, it's not comfortable, but it's definitely not broken. Foot seems okay. Can push on the fibula, no problem. Continuing to not swell, no bruising. So I'm like, what's going on here? What has happened? So I'm laying on the bed for a while and I'm like, you know what? There's an urgent care across the street from me. I'll see if I can walk there. Of course, my mom, I didn't tell her this. I told her after. Well, you can get a Lyft or an Uber because the hospital, if I need to go to the emergency room, it's less than a mile away. It's not even worth calling an ambulance unless I'm passed out. So I'm like, I could get an Uber if I really needed one or a Lyft. I'm like, you know what? Let me see, because I'm now standing upright. Is there any other way? I'm standing on my leg, both, and then I lifted up my left leg. So now I can stand on my right leg. So, okay, this is not as bad as I surely didn't. It sounded like it was going to be worse. The popping. Oof, I don't like that noise. So I'm like, okay, so I'm standing on my right foot, right leg. I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk over to the urgent care. The urgent care has got to be 150 yards, maybe, all told, like hallway, elevator, leave, across the street, parking lot, entrance, right? So I walk over there very slowly, very, very slowly. It took forever because I'm just being gingerly. I'm being very cautious. So I get in there, I walk in, there's nobody, there's no line. Next, go up there. Now I don't I don't have insurance. What are you, crazy? Do I look wealthy? Does anybody pay for any of my audio programs? No. So I don't have insurance. So the first thing he says, have you ever been here before? No. Okay. Can I get your ID and your insurance card? Please and thank you. I'm like, I don't have insurance. So he types in a couple things like he's getting my seat assignment. He says, okay, so you've never been here before? No. Okay, just so you know, without insurance, the copay, that is just to walk in the place, obviously after we've finished talking, is $406. He says, now if they need to do an X, I said, yeah, I have a leg injury. I live across the street, so I just walked over here. He's like, oh, okay. Any x-rays, any other material, any treatments or anything, it just starts adding up on top of the $406. That seems like a jip. What am I paying the $406 for? Just to be here? Horrible seats, right? Yeah, it seems like that copay should cover some of these. So I didn't go into detail. He didn't go into detail. I didn't ask for detail. I was like, okay, well, because in my head, I'm like, I walked here. I'm here about my leg. I want to make sure it's not broken, but I walked here. So I think I kind of know already. I think I have a pretty good idea. So he said, oh, here's a couple of other places that are lower copay. They're all far away. So I'd be a Lyft, Uber, bus, whatever. I'm like, okay, well, thanks. I mean, he was nice. It's nothing. He didn't do anything. So I walk back home. I'm like, oh, I'm still walking. I am walking on a leg that I was fearing might be broken, at least a little bit. And sure doesn't feel like a broken leg. So I get back home. Not really swollen. In fact, it's still not swollen now. And I was able to continue. I got home. I am standing on my right leg. Not a problem. Now I'm not twisting on my ankle, but so I stood on my left leg and I raised my foot up a little bit and I'm able to rotate now that I've walked and I may have inflamed it literally and figuratively. I'm able to rotate. I'm able to roll that motion. I'm able to stand on my leg. So I'm like, you know what? And I'm pressing on the fibula side of my calf. I'm raising my toe. So I'm trying to flex the front of my calf muscles. I'm pointing my toe to get the back. I didn't look this up. Is that the gastrocnemius? And I cannot remember at the front. Anyway, calf muscles. Like this feels super sore. Like there is an injury here, but I'm not seeing evidence of a break, fracture, or anything. So there you go. So I laid down in my bed, took a break. Turns out when you lay down, because I actually was standing at my computer, which I'm doing now, my standing desk. I was able to stand at my desk for a while, probably another hour. So I injury at 7, urgent care by about 10 minutes to 8, got back home, say 8:30ish, 8:20. So I was at my computer. I wrote the rest of the Let's Innovate for Vegas audio program. I had about 2 sections left, so I banged those out real quick. And then I was like, I should record this right now and then go rest. But then I started feeling, oh, this leg is killing me. I don't think I can do that. I think I'm going to rest and then I will record the episode, which is what happened. Laying down, I'm going to assume, and I did have an ice pack. So I had an ice pack on my ankle, my shin on the fibula side, the outer, right? And then, so the inner ankle and then somewhat on the outer ankle. That one's a hard one to put ice on. Tried to elevate it a little bit, a little rice, rest, ice, compression, elevation. I don't have any compression. I don't have a brace of any kind or an ace bandage, so we'll have to see how this goes. But not swelling, which boggles the mind. Now, while I was lying down, I'm going to guess that fluids moved around and whatnot. So when I went to stand up, whoa, that was painful. Then I was like, okay, maybe this is much worse than I thought it was. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk one step away from my bed once I was upright. Like this is not good. So I kind of had to use the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have to figure out how to get, 10 feet or whatever it is. So I started moving and it's really painful and it's like, I got to move it around. And now I will say, before we get much further in the story, farther in life, the old wisdom of immobilizing a sprain or a strain or similar soft tissue injuries. Well, you don't move, you keep it isolated. Immobilized, keep it raised, ice. I alternate ice and heat after the first 48 hours or so, et cetera, et cetera. But the new production by street, the new wisdom is to try to get on it as soon as possible, right? Don't do any more damage, but as soon as you're able to move it around, try moving it around. Ice and heat are fine, but immobilizing is not as good. That's the literature I have at my disposal. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to move. I'm going to go to the bathroom and see how this goes. Took about, I'm going to say, walked to get some water in the kitchen, walked over to my computer. I'm like, man, I'm going to fall over. I'm going to take down everything. All of my devices, everything is going down with me. But I made it. I'm okay. Stood for a little while, recorded the show. It's 2:00 in the afternoon at this point. So I took a nice nap. It's pretty exhausting when you're in pain. And so I was standing. The episode went for about an hour. Did a little editing, cover art, posted it. It's probably 3:30, maybe 4:00. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm not bad. This is feeling okay. Then I went to lay down again and put some more ice on it. And then I got up, standing, thinking, okay, this is going to be horrible again. And it was horrible. But it took maybe 3 or 4 very, very, very cautious and painful steps. And then by step number 5, that's not as bad. Continued cautious, got the cane. And then it was not so bad. So it's actually improved through the 12 and a half hours to the point where I'm now fairly confident that it's just the lack of swelling has me concerned. Like, what's going on with that? But I'm assuming it's either a very intense ligament strain, the fact that I can move and that there's only there's some motions. Like if I twist, if I'm placing weight on my right leg and I twist on my ankle, that's a little bit painful in the ankle area. So I'm like, that might be the ligament. I don't think it's a sprain. It's certainly not swelling like a typical sprain. So now I'm like, I keep forgetting I'm not a doctor. What do engineers know about this crap? But my assessment at this many hours later, 12 and a half now, is the patient will survive. I got painfully lucky. That could have gone so much worse. It's difficult to imagine. So, I mean, I have a standing desk. That's not going to work if I can't stand and get anything done. So even if I was, if I had broken something and I had however many thousands of dollars for uninsured injury victim, like, what am I supposed to do? Stay in bed all day? I got to, so what do I get, a boot or something? Is that an extra 10 grand? I don't know. But yeah, I got profoundly lucky. Obviously, we'll see how this goes in the next, I don't know, we'll give it, today's Tuesday, spoiler alert. Now we'll give it to like Thursday, see if I'm able to get in and out of bed without wincing. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is a wake-up call, to be sure, to be A, more careful, and B, more prepared in most ways for an injury like this that would effectively remove me from like a productive daily schedule for a protracted period of time. That's no good. That is no good. So there's that. I'm sort of bummed because I've been stepping up my gym game lately. The day before, so Monday, I was just walking. I just went out and walked around the hood, and I did, I think I walked, not in 2 different standings, 2 3-mile circuits. So I walked 6 miles, and I've been thinking lately, like, I think the most important thing, if you're going to get any exercise, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it, but I think maintaining a comfortable walking capability, an ambulatory range, it's almost like driving stick, right? If you've ever driven an automatic transmission and you're like, I don't know how to drive the other one. That's no good, because, when you most need to do that, you're going to be, I don't know how to work a clutch. Well, everybody's going to die now because you're ill-informed. So learning how to do these things. So being able to walk several miles if you really need to I think it's something to always have handy. So even though I don't have insurance, I can, up until this morning, that'll be a couple of days, I can walk several miles and I'm good, right? So I'm reasonably happy about that, but I'm annoyed that I will be on the injured list for a few days at least. And then, of course, the best way to recover for something like this is to not walk 6 miles on Thursday, but probably, walk like a normal person for a couple days, get back on it. So hopefully the gym I go to is walking distance, not too bad. I could walk there, do some exercises. The gym where I live is also improved recently, some new equipment and so on. I could try that out, not walk nearly as far. So we'll see. But so hopefully that'll help with the healing. Anyway, so here's something that's been fascinating to me more and more, because the alternatives, let's be honest, the alternatives, if you're going to consume YouTube content, if you're going to consume YouTube content, am I going nuts? If you're going to consume YouTube content, you're going to be consuming at some point some rant. Either way, whatever side of the political spectrum you fall on, you're going to hear that. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go down those rides. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with it. So I've really gotten into movie reactions. I've talked about this previously. The thing I like about movie reactions is, and I think this is interesting data point for Hollywood people. Now, maybe it's because people today will have seen movies that have been released today or recently. So everybody's going back to the 80s, sometimes back to the 50s. Luckily, a bunch of people have reacted to the 12 Angry Men, the first movie version, which was in, I want to say 57. Was it 56, 57? I wish people would also check out the, was it 1987? It was the George C. Scott, Jack Lemmon version with Tony Danza, a bunch of other people. George C. Scott, just outstanding, but not as good a version, let's be honest, but definitely worth a watch. But yeah, I'm seeing, so there are people of various ages. I mean, people in their 40s, older, people in their 30s, people that are like kids in their 20s. Sorry, they are reacting to these older movies. So the really interesting thing, they explicitly, now I don't watch the watch-alongs, so maybe it's more interesting. I'm like, I don't want to watch the same movie and sit there while somebody's commenting through it throughout. That's why we went to movie theaters to see these movies, because everybody, first of all, there was no turn your phone off because there was no phones. But yeah, you kept your mouth shut and watched the movie, damn it. So you'd watch the movie and then you talk about it later. So I'm not really interested in watching a full-length movie with commentary, but being able to watch what their highlight reel shares with the movie I've already seen. So I'm like, okay, I've already seen that movie, so let me just kind of get the gist of what their take is. I find these interesting, worth talking about perhaps, to me, is that they explicitly do not research the movies. And I actually have mixed feelings about this. It's almost like, which order should you watch the Star Wars movies in? Or, there are various other movies where, like, should I watch Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 10 or whatever, and then Prometheus? Or should you watch them in timeline order rather than release order? Same with Star Wars and whatnot. This is something that people think about. So when we saw the movies, of course, we saw them in release order, most likely. So we didn't really have that choice. As well, when a movie came out, we were seeing trailers. We knew who the actors were. They were contemporaneous actors, even if they were new. So I literally just watched another take on the fly. I think I've watched about 4 different movie reactors to this. And it becomes interesting because you get to see what they react more strongly to, which is usually what makes the clip reel that they post on YouTube. But also you get their overall impression of these movies. And for the most part, I don't think any reaction people that I've consumed so far have done any research up front. So they go in, usually they'll say right up front, I've never seen this before. I saw the movie poster. I don't know who's in it. I know one actor's in it. And then, of course, throughout some movies, they'll be like, I'll be back. That's where that comes from, right? Stuff like that. But so they don't do any research, but we did know those things. So I'm almost wondering if that's fair, because sometimes some comments will be made, like, for example, The Fly. I saw The Fly again today, four times, 4 different takes. And these are like 20 to 30 minutes. So it's not like an all day affair. Just have it playing in the background. I've seen the movie, so I just, pick up on some of the high points of the reactions. Like nobody makes a comment about how Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum were married. So I think everybody has said, oh, they seem so cute. They have really good chemistry on screen. So it's probably interesting that they were married. I think they were married after the movie. But yeah, they did have chemistry. And then for a while. And then, oh, Jeffrey Cronenberg. And then there's really no context for that. But at some point in the past, a Cronenberg movie came with a set of expectations about gross, right? Like maybe, anyway. Yeah, so in context, contemporaneously, these movies were all interesting and good and whatnot, but we knew a little bit more about what we were getting ourselves into. And of course, we would watch them in release order, so that's kind of interesting. They do tend, I will say, to make some interesting predictions and observations throughout the viewing. I kind of think that they've been shaded, predisposed to some of the predictions or observations because they've seen movies after the movie they're watching that probably took some of the ideas. And occasionally there will be someone reacting that says, oh yeah, we've seen that in John Wick or whatever. So they'll actually pull out specific things and say, so this must be where they got the idea from. So those are observant reactors. So that's actually kind of interesting. But when you watch people reacting to these things who are, the other day it was Jaws. I think I watched 3 or 4 Jaws viewings, and they would apologize. Like, I know everybody has seen this movie. I don't even know how I haven't seen it. It's been out for 50 years. And I never saw it. Now 12 Angry Men, you can understand, even though it's like the number 3 or number 4 on the IMDb top 250 movies, I think it is. And rightfully so. 12 Angry Men is an excellent movie. You should see it if you haven't. And by the way, and I've already said this previously, the reactions to 12 Angry Men are universally good, I guess you could say. Like, oh, okay, people do appreciate what makes that movie noteworthy and why it is so ranked so high on that list. Probably several lists. So yeah, I think some of the observations and predictions and noticing things is based on like a pre-awareness thanks to movies that came after. But also I kind of wonder if they're just more perceptive when they're at home, especially if the movie is heavy on special effects or if the cinematography is noteworthy, the way shooting a particular shot will highlight things, draw your attention to something that you really should notice and whatnot. I think some of these have evolved so much over time that you're essentially looking at like the equivalent of special effects. Like, ooh, the special effects in that movie don't hold up. So, so I think some of their awareness comes from the fact that they're watching some of the source material for some of the techniques that are now commonplace, but it could be anything. But here's the thing. So I've watched several individual reactors and couples, not necessarily, 2 people. So sometimes they're probably a couple, but other times just people watching a movie together. And those are particularly interesting. These bring back memories now. I don't know if when you watched movies back in the 80s or before, if you I was in high school around then. So we'd go see a movie and then we'd go, what was it? Was it Pizza Inn? Was there a Chuck E. Cheese near us? I think Peter Pie. I don't know. There was some pizza place that was like 2 doors down from the movie theater, the one that we would usually go to at the Metro Center in Phoenix. So we'd go see a movie, run over, get a pizza, talk about the movie. So watching people talk about the movie, pick it apart, react to things after, now that they have had some time to think about it, I think that's very, very interesting. So it's been actually interesting to, I guess what I take from this is a kind of a little bit more awareness of how people today, and of various ages, so they're not all Gen Zers or anything, but how people today who are watching allegedly for the first time movies from 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, how they view these things as opposed to me who saw many of these contemporaneously when they came out in theaters, because I used to go to movies all the time. So it does bring some of that back, and I found that really interesting. Anyway, you'll probably be sick of me talking about movie reactions, but I do think it's an interesting sort of insight into how people today think about things from back then. Because, hey, guess what? If you are a Gen Xer or a Zoomer, no, I'm sorry, a Boomer, then you are from back then. So all this talk about, the Gen Zers don't understand or they don't like or they don't appreciate. But when you watch younger people watching these movies that we were their age when they came out, you're like, oh, they're having the same reaction, the same responses, they're noticing the same things, they're taking away some similar ideas and so on. Like, yeah, maybe there's some hope. I don't know. In other news, I really want to work on my startup stuff, but I really have a lot of stuff to do for Innovate for Vegas Foundation. I really wish we had more participation, so that's kind of a challenge. So that's been, and it doesn't help that I'm now limping around my home. So it's going to be an interesting week. I don't know. I'll try to do a couple more episodes of this as more interesting things come to mind. It's more and more now. I'm like, maybe I should do a quick. And I got to tell you, I'm troubled by that. I should record a quick episode of Coffee Solo. No, that's how we all got into this mess. I got to go post on social media. I got to take this picture and post it. Or I think it's Louis C.K. He's like, don't take the picture and get on with your life. You don't have to tell anyone. Just enjoy your life. What I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, I think maybe my leg injury will slow me down enough so I actually can focus on these things that I've been putting off. My procrastination meter is getting tired. So that's all I know. This seems like a good length to chop it. Thanks for listening as always. And if this was not interesting, don't worry, there'll be another one. Take care. Bye-bye.